Hello and welcome or welcome back. I hope you are doing well. I have a lot to catch you up on and share with you, but I'm just going to jump on in and start with the obvious one, which is that I finished my green poncho and I could not be more thrilled with how it has turned out. I am beaming from ear to ear. I was so happy to cast this off and to wear it in Spain. I brought this on my 2 week trip to Spain. That's where I was the past 2 weeks, and it was the perfect accessory for coastal Spain. We were in Costa Brava, and I wore this to the beach, to breakfast, to the pool. I brought it out as a layer to wear at night. I wore it with dresses, with jeans, with linen pants, with shorts, everything. It was and is, I think, the perfect summer accessory. So, if you are new here and you have not heard about this poncho before, have not seen me talk about it in any other videos, I will do a little rundown, some fast facts to know about this project. And I also don't know if I've actually shared everything about it on here before. So even if you've been here before and seen this before, this might be helpful as well. So this green poncho I knit up in Isager Trio 2 in the color green tea, which is a linen, cotton, and lyocell blend yarn. I have worked with this yarn before and absolutely adore it. I think it is one of the best, if not the best, summer yarn I have worked with. It's just the way it drapes, the way it feels, how it feels after blocking. It's absolutely gorgeous, and I think it was the perfect yarn for this project. So to make this, I used US 7 needles and I cast on 96 stitches, which wound up being about 22 inches wide, and then I just knit a giant rectangle until this was 54 or so inches long, I think is where I ended up. Folded it in half and then used a mattress stitch to seam up this little section right here that's currently on my arm. To get these dimensions, I just kind of guesstimated, kind of played it by ear. So what I did was once I hit, I think 48 inches, I started pinning up this section that I was eventually going to seam up. I would try it on, see how it fit, if it felt tight, if I could move in it, just how it was falling and wearing. And I did that every, I want to say 1.5 to 2 inches. And once I was happy, I cast it off and seamed it up. And then I had my poncho. So very, very pleased with it. I did not do full stockinette, I guess. The stitch pattern that I followed was knit 2, purl 1, knit to the last 3, purl 1, knit 2, and then the reverse on the wrong side. So purl 2, knit 1, purl to the last 3, knit 1, purl 2. And I think that helped with the stockinette curl a little bit. I think blocking also helped. I think this yarn just blocks really well. I didn't like super aggressively block it, but I think you can see like the bottom of this does lay pretty flat. However, the neckline does curl a little bit. So I think that little purl bump on the right side did help with the curling a little bit. But yeah, I think that's everything about this poncho. I really don't need to ramble on about it, even though I could for days. I am obsessed with it. I think it's my favorite thing I've ever knit. Is that wild to say? I don't know, but I think you can tell. I'm over the moon about it. I feel overjoyed, and I'm just so happy that I finished it and brought it on my trip because it was perfect. So that is everything for this poncho. If you have any questions, please ask. I will answer them. I also started posting on TikTok like a month-ish ago, maybe a little over a month ago, and I made a post also with info about this poncho there. So I will have that in the description, my TikTok, and a link to the info on this poncho. And now we will talk about my second finished object, which is my Juno clutch by Petite Knit. Here it is. Here is my Juno clutch. It is currently empty, so it's like a little flat floppy pancake. But I am so pleased with how this one turned out as well. So as I said, this is the Juno clutch by Petite Knit, and I knit this up using Barocco modern linen in the color Spice. And it is just the most absolutely gorgeous shade of like wine red. It is a pretty simple stitch pattern. It was actually a much easier project to do than I had anticipated. I thought it was going to be much more challenging for some reason, but it was quite easy to memorize. And then attaching it to the clutch frame and the lining were also two parts of this project that I was a little nervous about, I guess. I wasn't sure how they would go, and that went incredibly well as well. Having a sewing machine for sewing the lining, of course, is so helpful. So if you don't have a sewing machine, I would recommend finding someone who does, or checking if your library has one, or seeing if you could pre-buy a lining from someone, or like have a local tailor or seamstress make one. I don't know. But that was also really easy to do, like adding the lining and attaching the clutch frame. And this is another one that I wore a ton in Spain. I think I wore it almost every night. I want to say like 10 out of the 14 nights we were there, I think I wore it. So this was a workhorse on that trip as well, and I think this will just be a workhorse in my wardrobe for the rest of summer, if I'm being honest. So that is it for finished objects. These are just my two finished objects, kind of like fun little accessories. And now we are going to get out my new handy dandy little hanger and talk about 3 garment whips that I currently have on the needles. So here we have my first whip, which is this olive green tank top that I am self-drafting. I am knitting this up on, I think, 3.5 millimeter. Yep, 3.5 millimeter needles using Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in the color Moss. So what I've done for this is I cast on at the top of the straps here. I knit down until I felt like I was ready to start this like scoop. I did the scoop, knit to the armpit, and then did the exact same on the reverse, joined in the round, and then I've just been knitting in the round for the past 2 or so weeks. Once I get to the like hem, I'll probably do like a 2x2 rib. I'm not sure if I want to do 1x1 or 2x2, but I'll do about 1/2 inch of ribbing on the hemline, and then I will go in and do 1/2 inch of ribbing along the armholes and the neckline and the straps, just to give like a little more coverage at the bust area, because I think this will need it. I tried it on a few days ago and it was very low cut, so I definitely will be needing some ribbing for that. But my vision for this tank top is just to have a slightly oversized, not even oversized, it's not oversized, but it's not form-fitting either. I would say it's like skimming, just like a body skimming tank top. That is something I could wear out maybe at night or in the evening. Like if we're not going to a fancy dinner, but I want something more than just like a t-shirt, just, I don't know, something I could wear for one of those situations. And I think this fits the bill perfectly. But so far, so good. I'm really enjoying this. I haven't run into any issues. This is the project that I bought on our trip, and as you can see, I knit maybe only 4 or so inches. I put this little stitch marker here to signify like where it was at when I left, and that's where I'm at now. So a few more inches and then the body will be finished, and then the neckline and the armholes, and I'll have a tank top. So hoping to have the body finished by our next podcast episode. It is going to be very, very hot here over the next few days, and I don't really have any other projects I'm thrilled about working on in the extreme heat. Well, knitting projects that I'm thrilled about working on in this upcoming heat wave. So I think this will be a good one to work on over the next few days. So that is my first whip, and my next whip is one that is coming out of hibernation, but I think I spoke about it coming out of hibernation in July, and that is my toffee sweater by CozyKnits. Okay, I'm not so confident that this will stay on the hanger. I feel like it's about to fall off. So this will be a quick little update because I haven't worked on it much. This is just me saying that it is coming out of hibernation. I will be working on it this July and August. I really am hoping to finish the body by the end of July, so then I just have the sleeves to do in August when I'm in Vermont for a week. And I'd love to be able to wear it there, like on 1 or 2 days of that trip. But I have gotten maybe an inch or so more in the body. My rowing out is still there and as atrocious as ever. But I am just going to keep chugging along on this one, and I don't know, we'll see where we end up with it in a few weeks. Again, not like too much to say there because I'm just pulling it out of hibernation and just knitting straight. So we'll see how that goes, but I think it's gonna go well. I was working on it last night while watching Love Island and very pleased with the progress I'm making because the yarn is, it's either a DK or worsted weight. It's actually knitting up much faster than I thought it would. Like I'm actually seeing progress, whereas on this tank top, like you do 3 rounds and it feels like you haven't moved at all. So happy about that with this one. I think I'll be finished with that one sooner than I am anticipating. So that's it for knitting that I've been working on recently. I know in my last podcast I spoke about doing the Portrush poncho in a pink yarn that I recently purchased. I brought that with me to Spain, and while I was there I was kind of rethinking it. I'm not totally sure if that is the right pattern for this yarn, so I'm going to give it another think for about a week or so, and once I finish this green tank top, I will make a decision on that one. So that is it for knitting. I do have one, again, very minor crochet update, but I really want to share it with you, and that is about my green mesh dress. We are going to ignore all of this random string that is everywhere on this. I guess right now it's a bodice or a shirt, but on this dress. This is my vintage green dress, and looking at this brings me so much joy. Even working on this brings me so much joy. I am obsessed with this. It is so much fun. It is such a popcorny project, which I think I've said before. But my update is, you're not gonna be able to tell, but you'll see there's a little row all the way down here. Oh, if these will move. Right down here, I've started the skirt, and I am very excited by that because that means that if I keep working on this at the rate that I'm working on it, which is like 3 hours a week, I will probably be finished this by the end of the summer. No, my goal, I'm hoping to work on this a lot more than I currently am. I put it away for a little bit. I wasn't totally sure if it was something I wanted for my trip or even for this summer, but I got back and I was just like really craving this project. It is such a fun project to work on. I think it's repetitive, so that makes it like really easy and kind of addictive. The color is just so much fun to look at. Like, what a dopamine hit. I can't not feel joy when I am looking at this or working on it. So that is my update on this dress. However, I do have a question for you, and that has to do with the 3D flowers that I will like end up appliquing and putting on here. So my question to you is, do you think I should do the flowers in this like lime green chartreuse color, so it's all one color, one tone, not wild and over the top? Or should I go the Zara Larson route and do like blue and yellow and pink and like maybe a few different color flowers of different sizes all over, kind of make it a little bit over the top and a little less me? It already is not very me at all. This is like not something I realistically could see myself wearing outside of like Miami or Tulum if I ever find myself in either of those places. I don't know. I feel like it could just be fun to go all out and do all the colors and make it just loud and fun and exciting, because it already is so far from something I would wear. However, I do think I would be more likely to wear it in the unlikely event that I find myself in like Tulum or Miami or somewhere where I actually could see this being worn. I think I'd be more likely to wear it if the flowers were this same green color. So I would love to know what you would do for the flowers on this project. Would you do green? Would you do rainbow? Would you do just one contrasting color? Any ideas or thoughts are welcome because I am, for some reason, feeling a little overwhelmed by it, and I don't know. I want to do the flowers. That's what drew me to this pattern in the first place. So all thoughts and opinions are much appreciated. That is it for knitting and crochet. This is a very short and sweet video. I do have one last little category for you today, and that is needlepoint. I wanted to just give one little update on my Salty Stitcher bike canvas. I finished one of the wheels in gold and I'm working on the other one, so making decent headway on this one. My big goal for this, which I think as we know at this point, I set very unrealistic goals for myself, but I don't get upset by them. I just like try to set goals, but I just don't stick to them. Goal dates. I set actual goals and stick to them, but like my dates that I set my goals for are a little unrealistic. I would love to finish this by the end of this coming weekend. This weekend is 4th of July, and this is obviously like a very 4th of July canvas, so it feels on theme for the weekend. As I said, it's also going to be like 100 degrees out, I think on Friday and Saturday, and I will be by a pool all weekend. So this seems like an excellent poolside heat wave project. My knitting and crochet, like I just don't want, I'm already sweaty, so I just don't want more like fabric on me. This is light and easy and doesn't touch my body. I also don't really care if I get like a little bit of chlorine or sunscreen on it, whereas I definitely care if I get any of those things on my knitting or crochet projects. So this is my poolside project for the weekend. Maybe next week you'll see a fully finished or almost fully finished little tandem bike needlepoint canvas. I just think it's the sweetest thing ever, and I wanted to give a little update on it. Also, I haven't really given much of a needlepoint update recently, so maybe sometime later this summer in August or early September, we'll do a big needlepoint catch up because I actually do have a lot to catch you up on, but they're here, there, and everywhere. I think that is everything. This video also was very, very quick, short and sweet. I hope you will join me over on TikTok. I am loving posting there. It's so much fun. They're kind of just like silly little videos. But I posted info about this poncho, and I also posted a little Whip Wednesday this morning, or I guess not today, but the day that this is going out, I posted a Whip Wednesday talking about all of these projects, just like quick little bites. So if you just want to see what I'm working on quickly without watching a full YouTube video, you can check that out there. But I also think I will, if I continue to do Whip Wednesdays on TikTok, I will do obviously like the longer videos here, but I may also include one or two projects in the YouTube videos that will not be in the Whip Wednesday videos because I think I'm like at 6.5 minutes and that feels a little long for TikTok. Ideal world, it'd be under 3 minutes. So something for me to work on, but otherwise that is everything. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you are working on something that you are loving. I hope if it is hot and you're having the same heat wave this weekend that you stay cool, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.